Kia ora everybody and welcome back to the kitchen. We've been given these beautiful Tangelos by one of Bevan's friends. Her name is Carol Sutherland. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Shout out to you. And today we are going to be making some jam out of these. Instead of making marmalade, like orange marmalade, we're going to be making Tangelo marmalade. Should be fine. I've never made it before, but it should be fine. So, the rules of making jam are the same everywhere. You need to get some clean jars, okay? Make sure your jars are clean and pop them into an oven, a low oven, like 50 degrees, just so that they can kill off any germs and they'll be nice and hot for when we add our fruit. Okay, so I'm going to pop those in there soon. In the meanwhile, I'm going to prepare my fruit. So I'm going to take this one because it's got the nicest looking skin. Now these are gorgeous organic ones. See, they look a little bit rustic, but they're full of fruit and they're probably way more flavoursome than the ones that you will find in the shop. So at the moment we're in spring, but our fruit trees are starting to fruit and all the citrus trees are, you know, like being used or being emptied. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, don't you? Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm going to peel as much of the skin off as I can without the pith, without too much pith. Now, a lot of people don't want to do this, and that's fine, but I like it. So I'm just going to cut some really thin pieces of the pith because I like bits of this in my marmalade. It looks pretty too. And then I'm going to cut as much of this pith off like this. So it comes right down to the fruit. Okay, because we don't want the white bit, we don't want the pith. Okay, and as soon as I've done that, I'm going to chop all this up, all these bits of fruit up, and I'm going to pop them into my pot. Okay, so you don't want to watch me do that. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done, eh? Something I forgot to mention about the jars as well. When you get your jars, make sure that they've got no cracks or chips on the lid, on the top of the rim rather, because the rubber bit over here needs to be able to seal properly onto this to make sure that that bit, you can, stays down, sucks down when the jam's hot. So keep your jars, okay, keep your jars because it's going to be coming up to summer soon and you'll have peaches, and even though you won't get many peaches in this, you will in a jar that big, you know, that's had pickles in it or whatever. Those are perfect, okay. Just make sure you give your jars a good wash out because the ones that have garlic in them, they're no good really. The lids smell too much and you don't want jam that tastes like garlic. That's a little bit gross. So I'm going to heat these up and I'll meet you over there. Okay, here's my pot full of Tangelos and oranges, mostly Tangelos. I've cut some of these little bits here like I showed you before. You don't have to do that. If you've got a zester, then get the zest off the skin, that's fine. I just like it like that because it looks pretty. Now, you know, like for those purists out there, these bits of pith, that little white bit, they're going to show up in the jam, but it doesn't matter, you know, it's still going to be good, it's still going to taste good. And let me heat this up and then we'll start adding our sugar, eh? Okay, have a look at that. So that's starting to boil quite nicely. I'm just going to turn the heat down a little bit soon. I mashed it up. I got my potato masher out and just gave it a squish down so that all the fruit is as pulpy as possible, because that's what we want. So we need to let this cook for a little bit. Notice that I didn't add any water either because there was so much juice in the fruit, which means that this jam is going to be like wowzer. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so let me cook this off for probably another 10 minutes and then I'll add our sugar. Right. Okay, I've added my sugar here. As a rule, back in the days, you used to add 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of pulp, but I'm not that keen on having quite so much sugar in my jam. Plus, I like mine a little bit tart. It just makes it a lot more flavoursome, I think. So, I've got about 1.5 cups worth of pulp here, and I've added 1 cup of sugar. You make your judgment call. You know, whatever you're up to, that's all good by you. The good thing with citrus is it has it'll set really easily, so we don't have to worry too much about that. So I'm going to let it just boil slowly again, probably for another half hour or so, and then we'll see how it goes. It should, the water, some of the water content in here should evaporate, and it should thicken up a little bit. So let's see how it goes in a half hour. Okay, it's probably been about maybe 10 minutes, and the water's evaporating quite nicely. It's looking a little bit thicker, and we're going to let it keep doing its thing for a bit. Okay, so remember, turn your heat down if it gets too bubbly, because we don't want it to burn. And the jars should be ready to pull out soon. Okay, I have got my jar lids boiling and just a little bit of water there. Okay, that's also to make sure that they're sterilised and ready for the hot jars. And this is my jam, and it's pretty much ready. It's pretty much ready. See, there's not a lot of, it's nice and thick. There's not a lot of extra juice left, so probably in another couple of minutes I'm going to turn down the heat and then chuck her into the jars. Okay, how good are those? And I just want to show you this. Look at that. That is the jam that is sitting on our spoon. Yum, yum, yum. So, how easy was that? Now that you can make this, you can make any sort of jam. And use what you've got at home. If you've got fruit trees where the fruit's falling off, then use those. Hope you guys will, and we shall see you soon. Ka kite anō.